This is The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel, and we are about to enter the auction gauntlet of this spring. And we are starting today, exciting and fresh, with an episode brought to you by Propstore. There will be no mention of their distinguished competition, as Marvel used to refer to DC. And that is, you'll see, you can figure out why, because we will only this episode be discussing the Propstore auction. So it's catalog day with a twist. But a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of I guess sad news before we get started. There's no other way of saying it. This is new for us, but we just wanted to take a minute to say our condolences and whatnot to the family of Darren Bland, who passed away, I guess, somewhat suddenly this week. For those of you in the prop community, he was an active and very funny voice. For those of you who didn't know him, we've referred to him on this show occasionally, obliquely, as the teeth guy. He collected a lot of mouth and teeth molds from movies. And by the way, prosthetics. And I did not particularly know him well, but I was just sort of unfortunately shocked by this. And his other big obsession in life was Battlefield Earth,
which is also delightful.
Kind of wonderful, which I guess just goes to show you there's something for everyone. Everybody collects something different.
This community is full of weirdos in a great way, and Darren was one of the best of those. And he was part of this sort of quiet forum that Dave and I were a part of. I was a part of. Dave was a part of for a long time, and it was just such a happy Canadian presence in there, and a good guy, and just well liked by everybody, and just very sad news. And we just wanted to pay him a little tribute here on the podcast today.
And I mean, this is probably not the time because I know how you collectors are, you vultures. Just back off the teeth collection. It's spoken for. No, I don't know. I think Darren would have appreciated that joke.
Dave's time to move in now. Yeah.
I think he would have enjoyed that joke, Darren. What little I know of him. Yeah, but very sad. What's new in props? As we hinted, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, well, we're doing catalog episode today, but we have Dave and I had long talks over the off season about how do we make this better? How do we make the podcast better? And more importantly, how do we make this better for ourselves? Because really, let's be honest, that's what's important. And
yes, we imagine, if you will, that we think of the show as only really. Used to be me and Ryan were the only two people listening, and now I think it's down to Ryan. So I'm no longer listening, but
you're listening right now, mostly,
sort of, with one ear. This is a game on in here, but I think we've just realized that it's an interesting thing as the auctions have gotten more frequent, and dare I say, as they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. The notion of doing an episode sort of with the catalog and looking at it for a first time before anyone else has really seen it started to sort of kind of disappear a little bit. Like, it started to seem like by the time we were seeing it, a lot of other people had seen it anyway, and we didn't want to air it so early that you couldn't like see it at the same time. Anyway, it just started to get kind of confusing, and the page by page turn of the catalog turned into a little bit of drudgery. And there's only so many things you can think of when you get to the Spartan, like the 300 section, and then now we're here, and now we're doing whatever. It just, like, at some point you have to be able to do a catalog broadcast without having to deal with the 2001 silverware. So it just started to seem like there had to be a better way. And so we're going to kind of try something new, and we're kind of doing this as we enter into this Propstore Heritage crazy back-to-back catalog weeks. Back-to-back catalog auctions, or I should say big prop auctions. So this episode is going to be all about the Propstore catalog, but with our new format, which we'll get to in a second. Next week will all be about the Heritage auction in the same sort of manner. Then basically the Sunday before the Propstore auction, so that will be Sunday, March 10th, we are going to attempt to do, and there'll be lots of information for you, we are going to try and do a live broadcast on YouTube that will also be a podcast, where you will be able to come and watch on our YouTube channel while we go through parts of the catalog then as well, and also ask questions, make comments, and be a part of the live broadcast. We're going to do that on Sunday, March 10th at we'll figure out the exact time, but figure, I don't know, what are we thinking? Like 11 or 12
sort of
Pacific
11 or 12
time?
Pacific / like 4 to 5 Eastern time ish, and then an accessible time, which means between 7 and 8 GMT, London time, and then hopefully anybody wherever you are, it's a sort of somewhat reasonable time to participate.
Yeah, not hopefully too terrible. I can't speak for Sri Lanka, but hopefully other collectors in other places it will work. So March 10th, we are going to, the Sunday before the Propstore auction, we're going to do a live broadcast all about the Propstore auction, take your questions and all of that kind of stuff on YouTube. And then we're going to follow that up on March 17th, the Sunday before the Planet Hollywood Heritage auction. We are going to do the same thing for the Planet Hollywood catalog. Again, a live broadcast on YouTube, where we take your questions on our channel. As
we'll take your channels as well.
We'll take your channels. We're happy to. And I, if there's any chance you're still listening after all of that, hopefully you will both join us and are excited by our new format this week.
We're giving it a spin. So the plan tonight is, we usually have done, I think, 2-part episodes in all the big catalogs. And look, I will also say, if there is a single collection, a special kind of one-off auction that comes along, like the Greg Jean auction, that does justify the page turn going through the catalog go by go, we will certainly, we're certainly open to that and probably will do that. It's just that now that we're in this sort of mill of, now there's going to be 3 or 4 of these auctions probably every year, probably from multiple auction houses. We're just trying to find a way to make the format more manageable and also not turn off everybody but the hardest core fans, and hopefully present them with an episode that's like an hour and 15 or an hour and 20 minutes instead of 3 hours to go through a catalog.
And don't you worry, we have a lot of ways to turn off the hardest core fans, ways that will sort of be off-putting.
And our sponsors too, Dave. So look out.
Yes, very exciting. So let us jump in now with the new Propstore Entertainment Memorabilia live auction, March 12th through 14th in Los Angeles, propstore.com. You can also go to our YouTube channel and see loads of videos there and also on social media. I went over to Propstore and I did some shooting with some of the props, so you'll get a chance to see me checking things out. This is very exciting. This is now the first of 2 LA auctions that Propstore is doing. It used to be just 1, and now
they also
2.
have a new format.
Yep, they have a new format. And I guess the one good thing overall, or among the good things overall, is because they are now doing 2 LA auctions, for Propstore, this is a slightly smaller auction than usual. It is a little thinner. I'm talking catalog size and number of lots, which is a very nice thing, and also I think lends itself to how we want to talk about it today. And the easiest way to describe how we want to talk about it is I'm going to kind of go. Dun, 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 roses. These are a few of our favorite things, right? That's
very good. That's better than I could have done.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. A few of our favorite things, and that's basically what this week's going to be. We're going to kind of go through the catalog, and we've each made a list, and we don't know what's on each other's list.
Right.
And we're going to kind of take you through some of our real, just like the favorite items and things that jumped out at us, and not necessarily specifically things we're bidding on, just things that just kind of like cool and blew us away. And then we're going to follow this up with the live broadcast, as I said, and that'll be March 10th. And there, besides answering your questions, we're going to kind of go through and we're going to have some fun with the catalog. Just all sorts of categories and things, and I'm going to pick things for Ryan, and I think it'll all be exciting. But this week, our favorite things. I don't know if I've bored the audience to death. Are they with us? I don't know. Are you with?
They're totally with us, Dave.
Are you with us, Ryan? Are you with me?
They just want to talk about the props.
All right, let's get to the props.
Yes, my first lot is number 6. I don't know. Did you have something earlier?
Nope. I like this. This is already exciting. I will say there was something very nice, and I know I joked about it earlier, but there was something very nice. As much as I make fun of 300, it was nice to not see 2001 like the same couple of pieces at the very beginning of the Propstore catalog, and that while it is starting with something from 300, it is not a warrior costume. It was an actual one of the immortal costumes, which have popped up from time to time, but it's a cool looking costume. And I did feel like when I opened this catalog up, it was just nice that it felt a little different. That was on the plus side. So lot 6. Sorry, that's my entree to this.
Very good.
This was fantastic. I don't know why I didn't choose this, but
I just love it. And oddly, it's not screen matched. So it's Ash's Nostromo flight suit. So it's Ian Holmes' costume. Essentially, the costume he wears the entire film, I believe.
Yeah.
And these are glorious and gorgeous. I've always loved these when they came up. And like, this is one of those. It's an Alien collection all in one. I'm actually surprised it's not matched. Maybe it's the way these are made that they make them difficult to match. But you would think with all the custom stitching and things like that
they would have found something to match.
They're not saying production made, which they've done with some of these, because there were like sort of prototype suits they played around with. But this definitely looks like, the film used version and all that. And that's not to detract from it. It was just a surprise. But man, just a cool piece and a totally reasonable estimate. 25 to 50. I mean, that's a lot of money, but for what you're getting,
especially if it sticks to the low end for an Alien prop, that ain't bad. I don't think wherever that fits in, probably not. I always just go. I love the Nostromo, the patch. Just to speak for that patch for a second, I believe that's a John Mallow designed. He did all like the from Star Wars, and he did all of the kind of logo insignia. He's very big on military rankings and whatnot, for those of you who know like Mallow's career. And so just the way he kind of made the patches and whatever, I love that. And so just to get that on there is, I just think, an extra, it's part of what makes that costume just so damn good. And as you say, just a key costume in this thing. Really, really gorgeous. And I wonder. I mean, they had to have tried. I mean, Propstore does a pretty decent job of
they really
trying to screen match. And I also think it's also worth, just FYI, you also sometimes want to check back, because if they somehow come up with a screen match before the auction, they're not shy about it. They're going to let you know. So it's always worth checking in maybe the day of the auction or the morning or the day before the auction. Just check the listing online just to see if there's anything that has changed, any addendums or anything like that, because they will let you know if in the course of things something screen matches after the fact, which is kind of wonderful. So, the catalog gets printed, and that's one thing. Really, really, really cool.
Great piece.
And a nice favorite things. All righty, my turn. Well, I wanted to, with every ounce of my being, just basically choose, something from Prometheus, like the engineer maquette next.
I actually like that. I mean, if you just wanted something from that film, no. I do. I like those designs. I just really like those designs because it calls back to the original film. But
no, pass. But I think I'm going to save my Prometheus jokes for the live broadcast. I think that's where perhaps one of the categories will be what are a list of the things we don't want from the catalog.
Give the fans what they want.
That will be high on my list. I am jumping to lot 15, which is Lev Andropov's light-up stunt spacesuit costume from
cool.
Armageddon. Lev, played by what's his name, Peter Stormare, who we used on Seinfeld.
Slippery Pete,
just wonderful. Yep, just so funny and fantastic. Well done. And this movie, I mean, Armageddon, I'm not sure we can add anything to the Armageddon discussion just about the movie. It's, of course, just, nuts and sort of really, really silly. This is a great spacesuit, I guess is what I'm basically trying to say here.
Yeah.
Whether you like the movie, whether you hate the movie or not, this is a gorgeous piece of costume and prop making, sort of the best of both. Just the detail, the accoutrements. I mean, I really don't know quite what else to say about it. I just absolutely, I've always loved all of the, I mean, I like a spacesuit in general. I am a fan of a spacesuit, but I thought this one is just truly fantastic and just lights up and just, I don't know
It
what
is.
else.
It is
What else?
great.
Yeah, what else
It's
can
a
you
great.
possibly say?
It says stunt, but it's a hero build to my eye
Yes.
just looking at it. Yes.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, I think stunt in the sense of perhaps a stunt guy needed to be in it for just to make sure Peter Stormare wasn't killed. But yeah, just gorgeous and just again the detail. It's really
and an iconic
worth to
character
see.
from that
Yeah,
film too.
yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
just worth a look at the detail. And again, at least again to my eye, and perhaps maybe a movie that people have forgotten a little bit about. Again, in the grand scheme of crazy prices, not the worst sort of starting area. So
Yeah, 15 to 30.
a very
And
valid
Dave,
thing. Yeah.
these 90s genre films are coming on, and have come on. I mean, it's not new news.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's just
feel like as that those kids age up, this is somebody's favorite movie in a good way.
Yeah, I mean those are the kids that saw that movie when they were like 13 are now turning 40, and they're they have money, and those are the films that imprinted on them when they were when they were growing up, and we've seen a lot of that action. I think this one will do. My sense is this does well.
I hope it does well,
pushes
just
the high.
for the sake of. But I just think it's really neat. I just love it. Again, it speaks to something I'm probably never going to buy. It's never going to go in my house. But boy, I'd love to see it. Sort of up close and personal. So, someone wants to buy it and invite me over. That would be great. Where are you next?
I'm at the very next lot.
There you go.
Number
very
16.
Nice.
Marty McFly's screen matched Erlewine, I'm saying that right? Erlewine Hondo Chiquita guitar. Friend of the podcast, Rob Klein, could probably correct me on that because I'm sure he knows all about this one. But
I mentioned this. I got to see this in person, and there'll be a little Propstore video of me checking this thing out.
Did you break a string on it?
I did not. I did not plug it in and blow a giant amp. But I did mention Rob's book, the Back to the Future Almanac, which is all about the various props, including this fine guitar. And it is really, really cool. It is a true item. I mean, it's a found prop. This is a real guitar that really existed, but it's one of one. It's so funny. And I held it. I had it in my arms, and until you see it, and I know there's a picture in the catalog of Michael J. Fox with it, but Michael J. Fox, is so tiny that in your mind's eye, this is a normal size guitar.
Right.
And it is only when you kind of like get a hold of it in person that you realize that the guitar itself is it's not as small as like a ukulele, but it is a tiny guitar.
Yeah,
and you realize that Michael J. Fox is 9 inches tall. That's what you start to realize.
I love it.
Because I know it, when you look at that picture, it doesn't look crazy small, right? It looks a little small in that picture of Michael J. Fox, but imagine he's so small. It's the dominoes of smallness. So anyway, it was just really gorgeous, and it's instantly recognizable from this film. The very famous,
this iconic sequence, and like this is the sort of existential a quandary when you're a Back to the Future collector, particularly guys like Dave and I who love the first film.
By the way, this is true of movies sometimes in general. Which are you talking about, the found item, so to speak? That quandary?
No, I was just getting
where are you going
the
with
first film. Like, what do you get? Everybody who collects Back to the Future collects
I think this
from
is
the second and third films.
I think this is connected to it because
there's nothing from the first film.
Right, the first movie is not a heavy prop build, and again, this speaks to a lot of the movies I love. What we talk about on the show from like the '70s and stuff, like when you're talking about The Godfather or whatnot. And we're going to get to some Godfather lot later. You're talking about, you're basically looking at wardrobe, or you're looking at found items that actually exist that they've decided to use. And in this case, it is a very unique guitar, but a guitar that, certainly in 1985, I guess you could purchase, you know what I mean? Or
Right.
at some point you could purchase. I don't know enough about guitars. But again, one of one, it has markings on it. It's screen match. It has markings on it specifically from the prop guy that
Zelansky, right? Or
yeah,
Zemansky?
Zemansky, who was the prop guy on all of the Back to the Future movies. This was something that came out of his, not just his collection of props, but I think this came out of his prop box. He had this, and then they chose it for it. So he was sort of being active as, that's some of the prop man's job. We need a unique guitar. What do you think about this? Yes, that. And so it comes from him. It has a marking on it that says it's from him, his, grouping, wherever that is. You can see it, not in these pictures, but I'm guessing in some of the online pictures at propstore.com. One of one, really incredible. I don't know what else to say. I was very much blown away by it.
Yeah, and I think it's when we look for props that demonstrate to me that speak to the character. And Marty's character in that first film is so much about being the frustrated rock musician, where he gets rejected he blows up Doc's office, so that iconic scene at the beginning, which this is the guitar that does it. Then he gets knocked out of the Battle of Bands competition for being too loud, and then he gets to save the day at the end of the film and bring his parents back together by rocking out, Johnny B. Good at the enchantment of the.
And it's really about Marty. Again, this is sort of maybe an alternate analysis of the film. It's about being a little person, being very tiny and having to use tiny things. So I think that's really sort of a different read of the film,
right? And that makes it infinitely displayable,
yes.
Dave. This goes in the display case.
It's okay. You can call me Dad.
It's been going on for years. It goes in the display. I was trying to say display case and Dave, and how it came out with Dad. So there you go. But that's a new thing. Ryan and Dad. And it makes it easier. It does actually make. I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny.
No, exactly. This would be ideal for a Japanese apartment in Tokyo. This is yes. Lots
it's
of
better than
things.
buying the stand-up bass from what's the name of the band that he plays with?
Marvin Berry and the whatever.
And the whatevers. Yeah. The stand-up bass player guy. That's much bigger.
Stand-up bass player. For those music people, Rob Wasserman, the stand-up bass guy. But anyway, neither here nor there. I marked a different lot, although I could have marked. There were two. I was very excited to see a couple of props. There was the guitar. There's the plutonium, also from the first movie.
Very cool.
Because I'm ultimately a first movie guy. But I marked lot 18, which is the Ron Cobb pencil drawing on graph paper of the side view, if you will, the profile view of the DeLorean. It's an early drawing of the DeLorean, but very, very close to ultimately where the DeLorean ends up. There's two different Ron Cobb drawings. There's an insert of the cockpit as well, and there have been other ones in previous prop stores. These are, I think, from the Cobb family. I just loved 18 because it's the time machine, and I'm never gonna have a screen used DeLorean, and even if one showed up, I don't want it. Do you know what I mean? But the idea of a drawing speaks to the art collector in me a little bit, and I just thought it was really just, again, an all-in-one for me.
Yeah, that's a very cool call out. I noticed it, but didn't flag it up because it was a line drawing. But that is something that's very cool, and it's big, and it's not huge, but it's big enough to make like an impression. It would be a good wall piece.
I think you will truly notice it. It's pretty cool. The level of detail on it is really nice, and he's one of these guys as a film designer. And we've talked about Ron Cobb a little bit in the past. He did alien designs for the Cantina, but then also on the flip side did a lot of these technical drawings for Alien, and now for Back to the Future, and really managed to make this the time machine both inventive but also just realistic enough. And I think that's what the drawing speaks
Yeah.
to me for those two reasons, which I thought was really, really cool. So, yeah, a really neat section. And then again, it's followed by a whole bunch of, 2 and 3 stuff. But I don't know. For
Yeah.
me, there's something about Back to the Future 1. I know we've talked about it before, so that's where I lean towards it. But that's
Yes,
a very nice
one
section.
day
Yeah.
I will get something from Back to the Future 1. I'm just sort of waiting, and I'm kind of tempted by the guitar, but I don't think it's quite the right thing for me, just based on the rest of my collection. But I will be looking at it. It's actually funny. I talked to another collector who's sort of also a writer collector who's in our business a couple months ago, who had been offered that piece privately, and I was telling him that I thought he was crazy for not picking it up, because I was like, it's going to go to auction, it's going to go for more than what you're being offered it for.
Right.
And he's sort of on the outside looking in a bit. He has a couple pieces, but he hasn't made that big splashy sort of pulled the Band-Aid off.
Did the auction change his mind in a little bit? What I mean by that is, I think there's sometimes a collector mentality, and I've known collectors like this over the years, maybe less in the prop world, but certainly out of the comic art world that I came out of, where sometimes, I guess the way I'll put it is, a price in a vacuum is a price that you're unsure of. And I know a collector that would often turn down private offers and end up paying more, sometimes slightly more, sometimes more in an auction, but he felt more comfortable with a number derived from auction, meaning 50,000 in the abstract. He just wasn't comfortable that it was worth 50,000, that other people thought it was worth 50,000.
Right.
And again, I don't know, again, we could get into his own levels of confidence. I don't think it was that other people wanted it. He just was ever so slightly worried in a vacuum.
How do you know what it's worth?
It's worth. And that in an auction, he would just as soon win it for $60,000, knowing that someone else was willing to spend the 50, than pay the 50 in the vacuum. And I understood it, but I also sort of was like, oh man, that's just a great piece. You could have had it for X. So I understood it, but I didn't always quite get it, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, because I mean, I the first probably, I don't know, 5-10 things I bought, I didn't buy at auction. I bought, in the wild, and shaking things out of the trees.
These days I dream of being offered something privately.
I know.
Yeah, I wish someone would offer me a Back to the Future guitar privately. But anyway, where are you next, sir?
I'm all the way into the 70s. So do you have something before that?
I do. I have a couple. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
And again,
this is our new format, Dave.
Yeah,
anything
the new
can happen.
format. Yeah. As I scroll, again, something we've talked about before, and other versions of this have shown up, but this one jumped out at me. 44, the sandworm puppet from Beetlejuice.
I knew you'd call that out. Yeah. That's a reason that I didn't. So
okay,
yes,
fair enough. I thought about that too. I had one or two where I was like, I think Ryan's going to put it down, and I didn't. So hopefully this works out. Again, another piece I got to see in person. Really nice. What I loved about this one is it shows its wear. You definitely see some of the paint cracking. You see some exposed foam. But so it's definitely, I think it's had a little bit of sympathetic restoration, but not a, as they say, ridiculous amount of restoration in any way, shape, or form. I kind of like that it shows its age. This is Tim Burton, all in one. I don't know how else to say it. This were, just very much from his sketch pad to
his brain
to life. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just like out of his brain into his hand, onto the paper, and onto the screen. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out soon, which is not a reason necessarily to buy it. Although I'm curious if that creates, I don't know what the word is, artificial or investment interest. There are people, I think there are people obviously in our prop community that are, looking for the next thing, not necessarily from a collecting standpoint. This is one of these, speculators. This is one of these things where I've avoided it for a long time. It's always been like, again, the letter B. It's always early in an auction when other Beetlejuice things have shown up, and then I don't do it and I regret it. And I wonder if this is the one. I really liked it. I love the way The smaller sandworm is coming out of the bigger sandworm. I just thought it looked great, and like I said, I liked the age, the screen used of it, of all
Yes,
of it. Yeah,
yes.
I just thought it was really, really
At
cool.
some point, I'm gonna go nuts for a Beetlejuice prop. I don't think this is the one, but like I'm waiting and ready. If one of those books comes along,
Yeah,
look out,
I know.
everybody.
Sure,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sort of like, we were just having the Back to the Future discussion. Like, I guess in the abstract, what's your dream Back to the Future piece? I guess it's sort of like
Um,
almost like playing the game without playing the game. But you have anything in the world you want from the first Back to the Future? What do you
I mean, I
truly
think I think
want?
it's probably that the thing that whether it's real or apocryphal or whatever, but the fabled costume, the puffy jacket that's sewn into the denim,
Gotcha.
the denim jacket. I think that would just be the piece.
I mean,
Or like
certainly
a or
recognizable. And
like
again, not a
a
costume guy, but certainly recognizable. Yeah.
Mr. Fusion too. Just because those do exist separately.
Right.
But from the back of the DeLorean from the final part
Yeah,
of the
the
film.
original Mr. Fusion, because I think
Yes.
it's different. Obviously, later Mr. Fusions. I think a lot about in those previous auctions those display pieces from the interior, the things that were connected to the. Remember from a couple of prop store auctions
Oh,
ago,
like the yeah
the
the
date
date,
readout
yeah,
thing and
and the
all of
flux
that, and the flux
capacitor, and
capacitor. Yeah, I think
yeah,
about those things a lot. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, Lot 44, Sandworm
it's
Puppet,
very cool,
Beetlejuice,
very
Indy.
very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
very neat.
All
How about
right,
you?
Dave,
What's
go ahead,
next?
Bicentennial Man, give it to us.
I love this movie. I just think over the years it only gets creepier and creepier. No, just absolutely terrible. I'm jumping to 54, which I did think
Okay.
you would have. This is
No,
the
no, I
quote
actually,
unquote lobster spinner, as they call it,
yeah,
from Blade Runner. Um, this thing was used as, I guess, the yellow cab first and then turned into the lobster spinner, which obviously is the opening shot you see in Blade Runner.
yeah.
Uh, this is from the display, was used in an exhibit. So you can see sort of this fun, really great little typewritten note explaining what it was. And then also this hand calligraphy. It looks like a wedding invite from the 70s, like this
Hmm.
hand calligraphy with a slightly fading Harrison Ford signature. I just really wonderful working old electronics that you can only put on very briefly before you burn the whole thing
Turns on the
out.
fire. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just thought this was pretty
it's
incredible.
very cool. Yeah,
Very aggressive. I don't think it's an aggressive price tag for what it is. It may be an aggressive price tag for where I am in my life right now.
yes,
But I did love this, and I just, I'm pretty good with Blade Runner. I've got my gun and I'm a happy guy. But boy, this speaks to me as to, some of what I love about this movie, the obsessive level and the effects and all of that kind of stuff and the world building. And I did
yeah.
really, really like it. I don't know what else to say. And I have no doubt there's going to be a lot of action on this piece. So
I would think so. I mean,
I'm
I would
not
think
holding
so.
out a lot of hope, but I did love it. I really just knocked me out. And in person, it's got some heft and size to it too, which
Oh, cool. Yeah,
is
you
is
picked it
is
up. Yeah,
pretty cool. Also, I think. Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. It just kind of blew me away. Why wasn't this on your list? Just kind of you're a happy guy with what you have. Is that
Yeah,
was
I
it
mean, I
that?
just
Yeah,
for me, it's like this is not. It does I mean, no, I'm not
yeah, yeah. No, I know.
slamming the
This is
piece,
more
but this just
curiosity.
just
Yeah.
does not leap out to me design wise as, oh, that's Blade Runner. I mean,
Oh,
I know this
interesting.
is from
Okay.
Blade Runner. It's clearly a spinner, but to me, you recognize this in the film from its light silhouette more than you do the actual shape of the thing, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do get that. I completely understand it. I guess over the years, having only seen little 3-inch, sort of like Michael J.
Yeah,
Fox sized spinners and whatnot.
the ones that he
Um,
flew around in.
yeah, exactly. But they look giant. In the movie,
Yeah,
they look like
huge.
they
Yeah.
hold like 800 people because he's so tiny. I thought I just this did jump out at me as wow, an actual model size spinner. I guess that it spoke to me on that level as
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and there's just not that much around studio scale from that film. So
Yes, I
it's
think
a
that
very
was kind of neat. Yeah.
very nice
So
piece.
it spoke to me. I believe, and I think there's something also online. I checked it out myself, but I believe that famed model maker Bill George, who made this and built it and whatnot, popped by Propstore, and I think they shot a little something with him as well.
Oh, neat.
Maybe
Oh,
some
cool.
memories of working on it. So that's kind of cool too. So that's worth checking out at the propstore.com website. But this one was a good one for me. What's your next one? Because I have one more at 69.
Yeah, do it.
And this one, and this is sort of a little slightly interesting one.
Okay.
Which is this movie to me still holds up, which is this is Torrance Shipman's Rancho Carne High School cheerleader. This is very much a pick for my daughter. Honestly, this is a pick for my daughter. I think this movie is hilarious. I love the cheer speak of the movie. To me, this is a very identifiable costume. You see this and know exactly what it is. And she loves that movie, and I just thought it was just kind of fun, and I put it down for that reason.
Are you going to be bidding on this?
On the low end, absolutely. I don't know if I want to go, on the high end, but I think under $5,000, I think it would be a very fun piece to kind of, sort of add if she's into it, so to speak.
Yeah,
so
I have my first of those coming up not in this auction, in the next auction, and in the Heritage auction. We'll talk about it when we get there. And I think the price tag that's going to come with that one is quite a bit higher than this will be. But I was very charmed by being egged on by all three of the women in my house.
There's something very nice about, attempting at least to try and get the family involved in the collecting, as opposed to the normal thing, which is, hey, kids, we're having spaghetti again because we spent all the food money on an X-Wing, which also involves them, but it's different. You know what I mean? It's different. Yeah. It's a different way of involving them.
That's right.
Anyway, I got a kick out of this.
Canceling the Uber Eats account because
exactly. Wow.
Taking advantage.
They abuse it. They abuse it far, far too much. But anyway, I got a kick out of it. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of that movie. I really do like it. It makes me laugh, and it's that simple. So yeah. Anyway, that was for me. That got me to 69. So where are you next?
I have two on this next page, but I think one of them is probably you've also flagged up. So I'll talk about the first one first. So 77, Theo Farron's Clive Owen's costume from Children of Men.
I almost put that down myself. I did do 78, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, then you can flag that one up, because I figured that. So I'm calling this one out. But
I agree. I'm just going to say I heartily agree. Yeah,
I love this movie. I'm very lucky on House of the Dragon to have worked with both the costume designer and the production designer of Children of Men. They're both brilliant people. Jeannie Tamim, who won the Emmy for our first season of the show. She did not work on season 2 because of Alfonso Cuarón, because he needed her, and she was not allowed to come back to us. And she's been working with him since Prisoner of Azkaban.
Sure.
So when Alfonso calls, she answers. And then the wonderful Jim Clay, the production designer, who designed that crazy dystopia and has built all the insane castles for our show. Just both of them absolute wonderful creative people. And
if I may just jump in for 4 seconds ago, what I truly love about both of them is it is our world, but it is not our world.
Yes.
And with you know what I mean? We're obviously, in House of the Dragon, you guys are doing, armor and stuff, which no one is wearing, and you're doing castles and things that nobody lives in. And what I just loved were the subtle changes in some cases that they were able to sort of make to the real world to make it feel like some sort of, not even post-apocalyptic, because it's not post-apocalyptic, just society took a bad left turn. Yes, exactly. A really bad left turn. And yeah, I love that. And this combination of, in some ways, almost the classic overcoat of a detective protagonist. I know he's not exactly a detective, but it speaks out to me. But that combo with the hoodie, I don't know. It like the two together, they sort of fight each other in a great way. I don't know.
It's so good, and it's such a great. I mean, if you anybody listening haven't seen that film, stop what you're doing, go watch it. It's a instant classic. It's great.
And again, reasonable, dare I say, very reasonable. Have you watched Monsieur Spade, just to turn this into a completely different podcast for a second?
I have not, but I've heard good things. Is that true?
6 episodes, Really enjoyable. Really
I don't know
liked
where to
it.
find it out here. That's my
Yeah, it's
problem.
AMC, so I
Yeah.
couldn't even begin to tell you the
I just
what
have to
or the
wait for it to
where.
appear in
Yeah,
the digital
I'm
store.
sure it'll
Yeah.
show up at some point. I was just going to simply say, you know, I actually did like the story. I really did the mystery, if you will. But even if I didn't, Clive Owen, who is absolutely incredible as Theo in Children of Men, is so perfect in a way that you never thought of as older Humphrey Bogart,
Mm.
Sam Spade, and just leans into that tough guy talk, which again you see in Children
Mhm.
of Men. You know, he is, I don't know, perfection. And I do love this costume. I am with you. And I guess maybe that brings us over to 78, which sits
Yep.
opposite it, which is the Jake Gittes costume, screen matched from Chinatown. It's called the
Just
screen
crazy.
matched bar costume. Um, just absolutely incredible 3-piece suit with a vest. The funniest thing about the piece is there is a little bit of I guess, forgive me, discoloration. I don't know what to call it. I
Mm.
guess I don't know if it's sun damage or age or whatnot. And so it's kind of appearing a little more purplish in a way, and I don't know why. I guess just because of Jack Nicholson, I almost, you stare at it and kind of go, wait a minute, is it Chinatown or is it the Joker?
The Joker, yeah.
Because it kind of lends itself to both in a
I
great
will
way.
say, Dave, that
Yeah.
I bet Western Costumes spelled his name right when he played the Joker,
I don't
versus
know. Yeah, exactly. There's
yeah,
something great about who? Nicholson,
yeah,
Nickle. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, this is just an incredible piece. Again, a tough movie. What are you going to get
What do
from
you got?
this
Yeah,
movie? But this is just kind of wonderful. Um, yeah, and all kidding aside with the coloration, I don't know, it doesn't particularly bother me. It's a
yeah,
movie I would really like to have something from, and I don't know, in its own way, I think somewhat iconic, just in terms of, I think of him in these kinds of suits. He's a bit
yeah,
of a there's a peacock element to Jake Gittes. He
yeah.
spends his money on his hair, his shaves, his suits, and whatnot, and obviously likes the ladies. And I don't know, it feels very Jake Gittes in a way that I really like. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really wonderful with the costume screen match. Uh,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy
yeah,
it exists. That it's a screen match and all that. And man, just like top 20 all time film.
yeah,
For by anybody's measure, just fantastic.
yeah, really, really just special, and I don't know, just fun to see. I'll say that. Yeah, really, really kind of cool. Um, my next is actually sort of similar but different. Is probably 116. Or do you have anything
At
before that?
120 is my next one. So you
Okay.
go.
I am going to call out just in passing what didn't quite make my list, but I've always just been a fan. I think we've talked about it on the show. I love Empire of the Sun, Spielberg's movie of the J.G. Ballard book, and they've got
Hmm.
Jim's leather jacket from the, I guess, back end of the film, sort of a more shredded version. I don't know, just always very memorable to me with the flag on the back. I just one of those things I've just always liked, and
Sorry, where is that?
that is
No, that's
190.
92. Yeah,
92. Sorry. Yes. No,
92.
this
Yeah.
it's not my pick. I'm just as I'm
Okay.
scrolling, I'm adding an
Very,
extra
very good.
pick. I apologize. I'm
Okay, because you
cheating
are
ever
going
so
to
slightly. Yeah.
116, which I figured you
No,
would
I
also.
know, I know, I know. I'm just as we're journeying along, there were just odds and ends of things that I did get a kick out of. I didn't quite put them on my list, but I felt like I could cheat it in. This is a piece we've seen this piece before. I can't remember when last we saw it. This is the ones. It's lot 116. It's the screen match Godfather 2 De Niro jacket. I don't know. I stared at it the last time. I didn't bid. Now I'm staring at it again. Screen matches. There's a match to one of the buttons and the stitching or the design on the button, the label, De Niro, the photo reference.
It's
you
so
know,
cool.
it's just damn cool. It's Godfather 2. Again, what are you getting from these movies? And I don't know. Like I said, there's something about like this one that's, I don't know, it's growing on me, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know what else to say. Yeah, it's just growing on me. Um and I don't know, I just keep thinking about it. I don't know what else quite to say. And again, I my fears, and I don't know how else to put this, is am I going to put this on a mannequin or is this going in the closet? That's
Yeah.
the only thing that I'm trying to figure out because
It's a
I
reasonable
do
fear,
love
Dave.
it. I do love it. But what am I going to do with it? And that's the thing I don't know. I guess I'm wrestling with just from
Yeah.
a collecting standpoint. I just have better things to do than fill my closet with costumes. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, this is a great one. I don't.
Yeah.
That's I don't know what else to say. So yeah, sorry. Where are you next?
120. Adenoid Hinkle's dress uniform jacket from The Great Dictator. I just love that this
No, it
exists
is
and that this is
wonderful. Yeah,
here. It's Charlie Chaplin's jacket from when he played Hitler
yeah.
before when Hitler was alive, and just crazy doing that, and the controversy it caused when America was trying to be isolationist and not
Yes,
get involved,
trying to be friendly to
and
Hitler.
you
And by the way, here we are all these years later, friendly to Hitler again. Yeah, we've
yeah,
kind of
well,
come
you
full
know,
circle. Yeah.
yeah, but you just I like
The bravery of Chaplin's, both bravery and also just guts on
and
some level. Yeah,
genuinely funny too. If
yeah.
you have not seen the film, yeah, genuinely funny. And like you have, I I'm not saying that this is the reason we got involved with the war, but like you have to imagine that this because I mean, I don't know I don't know that there is a Chaplin reference for how famous he was at the time. You know, now I mean,
No,
I don't know,
you could
Taylor Swift,
argue that he
like
was the most famous person on Earth. Like he
Earth,
was the most
yes,
recognizable person on Earth.
yes,
I think so. Yeah. I was also going to say a very big influence in its own way on the Sacha Baron Cohen movie that I wrote with Jeff Schaefer and Alec Berg, The Dictator,
very
which
good.
was not nearly as good nor as important as the Charlie Chaplin
But
film.
we did go to war after it, so
Yes, we went to war. So yeah, and rightfully so. But yeah, this was just really cool to see. I did see this in person there as well, and I made note, and I talked a little bit with Brandon Allinger, who runs the Propstore Los Angeles. Um, this auction for me, vis-a-vis Propstore, I felt like they had a little bit more than usual of, I'll simply say, like silver screen, golden age of
costumes,
cinema
yeah,
stuff, costumes that than they normally have in one of their auctions. I feel like they lean more towards genre and pop, more modern pop culture a little bit. Obviously the big
yeah,
'70s movies and whatnot, but there were a number of items, including this Great Dictator outfit that. I don't know if it just worked out this way with the new auction or whatnot. And we talked a little bit about it, but I just thought it was kind of a nice color to see from Propstore, just
yes,
this
indeed,
other side of the collecting world. And yeah, I just thought it was kind of interesting and exciting to see it, and it's just cool. It's boy, you talk about like things that like should be in the Academy Museum, or I
yeah,
don't know, yeah, it really
yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know,
certainly
jumped out
that
at
one,
me
I
for
think,
those
yeah.
reasons. Yeah.
And there's another
Um,
piece later that'll make the case for that too. But
oh
yeah,
really? Okay, yeah, no, I
yeah,
think I know what that will be
yeah.
as well. Um, I am jumping to, I think I'm 140, so I think I've got a while to go. Boy, I will say though, I was scared. The Hellraiser pieces just bother me. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that
terrifying.
it is just terrifying and creepy. As everyone knows, I'm not a horror guy, and I not only will I never watch these movies, I would like someone to tear these out of my catalog. They frighten me. 140
Just flay
again.
them right out of
Yeah,
your catalog. Yeah.
and I went back and forth. I'm going to tell you between 140 and 142. I believe this will
Hmm.
make the umpteenth time I have called out something from Highlander. We've talked about Highlander all the time. Here is the Kurgan sword. I'm going to say again. I will. I don't know. The one thing I will say also, and I guess if I had to have a criticism of this catalog, is there's stuff in here from there's things from their own auctions that I guess perhaps didn't sell and they are now back in at a more reasonable number. But we are also seeing a lot of prop flipping, and I feel like I'm seeing things that collectors are getting rid of quickly, and therefore they
Yes.
were in auction, someone bought them, and now they are for sale in another auction. And I was staring at this sword going, I know we've talked about it, I always like this sword, and here it is again. I don't know what else to say, but
Yeah.
it's the Kurgan sword,
There are
Clancy
multiples of
Brown.
these, so it's a
Yes,
chance that
there
it,
definitely
yeah.
are. So maybe it's a multiple. And I know props beget props, meaning one sells and then somebody goes, oh, I didn't know it was worth that much money. I'm now going to sell mine. And I certainly don't begrudge any auction from putting a good piece in. I started to think as I was putting it on my list, have we had this exact conversation? And then that's why, dare I say, I added 142, which is a piece I certainly don't remember ever seeing, which is, and again, I always lean towards the art, but this is Alan Cameron. This is a concept drawing of what the quickening might be in the scene after, I guess, spoiler alert, he kills Ramirez in the back end of the Scottish Tower with the stairs and whatnot. And crazy red skies and lightning and whatnot. And obviously not exactly how it ever kind of was rendered in the movie per se, but I felt like I really enjoyed the attempt at it. And I don't know, a piece of Highlander art I thought was just something a little special, a little different. I don't know. Yeah.
And different. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I put it there. So I like both of those. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. One of these days, again, Highlander for me, one of these days, I don't know when those days are, but one of these days. Yeah.
Well, my next thing, I think we were going to talk about this.
Yeah.
It's on the cover.
And right before we get to it, I do want to just call out 147 too, which is the I Love Lucy outfit, which is a screen matched I Love Lucy outfit. Again, just something you don't get to see every day, and it didn't quite make my list, but I damn excited to see it. I guess I don't know how else to put it. Yeah, damn excited to see it.
And important too.
Yeah. I put 148 down and then crossed it off knowing you were going to put it down.
Yeah.
And I have 149. So I think we can talk maybe about this section in general, but let us start with 148 and deal with them separately. This is a screen matched stunt leather jacket from Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom.
Yes.
Worn by Vic Armstrong, and it is all over the film. For those who know Temple of Doom, Harrison Ford hurt his back during the making of it, and Vic Armstrong did a tremendous amount. Not that he wasn't always the stunt guy, but they did a tremendous amount of keeping the movie going by using him and then coming back later and adding Harrison Ford to the mix. And we joke sometimes you can actually you can see it's Vic Armstrong. Sometimes you can't, but it's really well done. This jacket is just fucking great. I mean, I don't know what else. Let's start with that. How's that? Our highest review. Fucking great. Yeah.
This was slid across the table to me and on a photo of it on a phone many months ago. And when I saw it, I lost my mind. And then I was told that it was a stunt jacket and it was not ascribed to Harrison, and then began months of waffling. And everybody that listens to this podcast knows that this is in the top 3 of my list of things. I've been very lucky as a collector over the last 15 years to get more, we hate the term, but I will use it, holy grails than I ever could have imagined getting. I'm very happy with my collection. I have a wonderful grail-like collection of Indiana Jones stuff. The only thing that I'm missing from the trifecta is the jacket. I would love a jacket. I went back and forth on this a lot. I bothered Dave about it a lot. It is a great piece. And for anybody that doesn't have a major indie piece, this is certainly going to be up there. Maybe it should be up there for me too. I love it. I love it. It's screen matched. It's Temple of Doom. Vic Armstrong is the most famous stunt guy associated with Indiana Jones, at least, in Harrison's work in Indiana Jones, because he doubled him for all 3 films. So I think, it's all completely correct. The screen match totally works. It's not a stretch. You can see clearly it is the jacket used in that rafting scene. And Vic is all over the film, as we mentioned. He's a legend himself. It's so great, but I think another indie collector is probably going to.
Oh, you've fully talked yourself out of it. Yes. I did not realize that. Interesting. I don't know. It doesn't look. I am sitting in slightly rarefied air, which is I have one that Harrison Ford wears, and so I am aware of perhaps what would I be thinking in the other universe, if you will. I sort of made my peace with it. I mean, I'm not even sure what I made my peace with. I've come around on it, maybe more so. Like, it doesn't bother me that it's a stunt. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not looking to try and convince you. Yeah, no, I know. I too was like, oh, Harrison, blah, 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 blah. seeing, I didn't get a chance to see it in person. I've looked at the photos, I've looked online and kind of zoomed in. The match is so good and it's so all over the movie. And as I said, I don't know, there's something about Vic Armstrong in that movie in particular. Not that
Yeah,
he
having
isn't
stood
all
in for
over.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not that he isn't all over the other two movies, but there is something about, I don't know, his role in this. I understand. I had, I get it. I understand. You want one where it says, Jack Nicholson spelled with a
yeah,
CK. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I get that. I totally
yeah.
understand it. I did think this is really special, though. I don't know. I guess, yeah. I think
Hmm.
that's. I
Interesting.
understand, but I did kind of come around. I think I also just loved how good this looks in the pictures. I love
Yeah, it
all
does.
the
It does
stuff,
photograph great.
the
Yeah,
wear on the collars, and I just all of that stuff, and the sort of, if you will, and it's some of the stuff that they're screen matching off of, but just like how beat up the back of the coat is. You know what I mean? Like this is a real wear and tear jacket, which I just kind of love.
for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I do dig it. But I get it. Are you? Let me ask you this: are you gonna watch it? That, like, if it were on the lower end, or it's just
Yeah, I
you've
mean,
made your, or you've
I'll pay
decided
attention and
no?
look, maybe
Yeah,
I wake up on that day and think totally different. The other thing that does factor in is, as everybody knows, we just talked about it. I just bought his matched Raiders shirt, and I really do love it, and I do love the way it wears together. And yes, I know that that's not a jacket; it's a shirt, but I do I've come to really love it, and I don't know. I don't know. I will continue to think about it. It's a great piece. I mean, me not bidding on it has no effect on
no,
on the final
no. I don't
outcome
believe it's
for it.
going to have
Yeah.
any effect at all, one way or another. I guess what I will say is the following, and again, it's a theoretical discussion. I mean, this whole notion of hero versus stunt and whatever. And we are definitely, I think, maybe perhaps breathing some rarefied air, because I feel like, I don't know, it's an indie jacket. You know what I mean? But I
Hmm.
do, again, I understand it. I do wonder if perhaps you had been offered. This is more. I'm just curious. This is not you should do it. This is me just making conversation. If you had been offered for sale, if for a second, if you will,
Hmm.
the hat you have, the screen match, which is a Last Crusade hat,
Hmm.
the screen matched Harrison Ford shirt from Raiders, which is in your collection,
Hmm.
and this jacket, if someone had offered this to you as the triumvirate of hat, screen match, stunt jacket, Vic Armstrong, screen use shirt, three different movies, three different levels of whatever, do you think you'd be thinking about it differently? I don't know if I'm making any sense with this question, or hard to say.
Maybe. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe, and maybe if this had come along as a private offer, I would think about
Right.
it differently too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know.
That's the
I don't
answer.
know.
That's the answer. You have to be happy. I think the worst thing we can
And
do
the
as
price it's going to
collectors,
demand is a
it may demand
Harrison
a
Ford
Harrison Ford
price.
price, but it may also not. I mean, there's that
True.
possibility.
True.
I was going to say, we have to, as collectors, and I think there's a danger in, I really want a jacket, but this isn't the jacket I want, in going for it. And apply that to anything in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm dying for something from, I'm trying to think of what's right near us that is something that none of us are interested in particularly. I'm dying for something from Independence Day, and I've always wanted a spaceship, but there's a fighter jet miniature, and I'm going to buy lot 144, and I'm going to buy that because I have to have something from Independence Day. And I think these numbers are real enough that you can't just do that. Do you know what I mean? I
Right.
think you have to, like, I think there was a time, if this was 1986, maybe you could have taken a flyer on the wrong prop from a movie that you like, just because. And I don't mean wrong like there's something wrong with it. I just mean not your favorite. But I think we have entered into the world of these numbers where you don't want to make a $20,000 mistake or a $400,000 mistake. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think these are numbers. Well, that rolls us into the following lot, which is
Which is very
149,
cool. Yeah.
which is a Harrison Ford Last Crusade shirt. Um, I don't think it's screen matched per se, but it's certainly. I'm trying to remember if it was.
That would
I'll
be
read
hard
it.
to do in that film
Yeah,
because it's never exposed because he just wears
right.
the jacket the whole
Wears the
time.
jacket over it the entire
Yeah,
time, but it it lines up perfectly in terms of the
that's great.
design and all the
Yeah,
whatever.
and you
It's
should
funny.
totally be getting it.
Well, I was about to say this is a piece where I I'm pretty happy with what I have, but I will not lie. When I saw your shirt, it really made me feel like I want a shirt. My hat and jacket are both Last Crusade, so certainly your Raider shirt would have been nice, but this certainly makes more sense. Uh, I guess I'm just curious about the number. I guess
Yeah,
I will not lie. I have if this is going to sell for 100,000, I'm not sure. I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
sure I'm the guy for $100,000
And I'm with
shirt.
you there.
And
And I
by the
think
way,
you
I'm not
can.
sure I'm the guy for a $50,000 shirt, but I might be
Sure.
able to make my peace with that a little bit more. But that, forgetting the number, in the abstract, I would very much like to add this shirt to my display. I think it
For
would
sure.
look, I
No,
think it would look just fucking great. Yeah.
yeah.
I,
Oh,
I think it would
completely.
look great. Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also kind of liked the tote glasses, but I don't really have anything
Those
else
are
to
very
add
cool.
about that. Yeah, just I don't know. You recognize them, and I kind of like
We
it.
not
Yeah,
thirsty.
Fraulein. Yeah. Where are you next? Where are you next? I think I know
jump
where
all
I
the way
am.
to 230.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got 192, but I am just scanning as we go. I did get to see that James Bond suit, which we've seen before, and it is
It's awesome.
wonderful. It is
Yeah.
just great. It was fun to see. From a later Bond movie, just because we always talk about the Bond movies, I will say 161, Melina's crossbow, just because you can, you always remember that poster with her legs and the crossbow, and she, shoots the
Yeah.
guy. I always, again, this is I don't need, when I get a James Bond piece, it's not going to be for your eyes only, but the kid in me loved that actress and loved
Very
that
good.
crossbow. I don't know what else to say, so I'm just calling it out as we zoom by it because it's there. um I was also going to say I got to see all these like crazy Jurassic Park like paint tests and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all just really interesting. I just like from a
Mm.
process standpoint, wherever
Mm-hmm.
that fits into your world, it was just really interesting. I am jumping to 192. I've got back to back, sorry, 192 and 193.
Yes, of course.
192 is sort of the triumvirate for me with the Jake Gittes. It's the Jake Gittes suit, the Robert De Niro, and now the Rupert Pupkin. We've seen all of these pieces previously. I don't even know if they were in the same auction
Oh, I
originally
don't remember
or
the
whatnot.
pumpkin jacket, but
I thought the Pupkin jacket popped up
I mean,
previously as well.
yeah,
Robert De Niro, King of Comedy, crazy underrated movie.
love that movie.
I love this movie.
Mom.
Yeah. We've talked about this movie before. We've talked about, our dream props, which is his book, The King for a Night. We talk about this a lot. Again, is this it goes in my closet piece? And unfortunately, maybe it is. And yet, it's the
It's
Rupert
so
Pupkin
good.
jacket.
Yeah.
It's the Rupert Pupkin jacket. It's screen matches. It's Rupert Pupkin. It's Scorsese from that period that I just love. And I don't know, is this the opportunity? Is this the moment? I don't know. And again, I am having that just wardrobe wrestling match with myself, and I don't have a good answer.
Yeah.
As it is, I've got Star Trek costumes in my closet. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and those are genre pieces that fit into my collection. So
Yeah.
where is this going? I don't quite
But
know.
it's so cool, and I love that it's screen matched too.
Yeah. But it would be very easy to put it on, a mannequin very similar to what you're looking at here. I might get rid of the hands, by the way, but that's a personal whatever.
I de-hand all my mannequins.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just looks really good. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I recognize it instantly I know that's not an answer, and I do just love it. I don't know what else to say. Just a terribly loud whatever. And I know why in this description I got such a kick out of this, that Akira Kurosawa listed it as one of his favorite films. I don't know why.
I
It
love
made
that.
me
Yeah.
made me think higher of Akira Kurosawa, who
Yeah.
I was down on. No, I wasn't down on him. Anyway,
Overrated.
yeah. Fucking asshole. Oh, he likes King Kong.
Yeah. Oh,
He's
yeah.
not so bad. Yeah. So I know 192 again, my wardrobe triumvirate, and then to go the other way, 193, the Krull
Another
glaive.
AFI top 100 classic.
Top 100 worst movies ever. If I buy this, I have to promise myself to never watch the movie ever. Like not even to try and see it, because I think then I will instantly regret the purchase. This one we previously saw, I believe the last one of these glaives that came up was the hero glaive where the blades were retractable. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
It popped out.
And that was very cool. I inspected that up close in London.
Yeah, super cool. What was interesting about that one, though, was it was a one-sided piece. It was only to be seen from the front side, shot when the blades come out.
SFX,
yes,
essentially.
Exactly.
It was a gag piece, yeah.
So the back of it, and again, displays really well. This one, the blades do not pop in and out. It is a static piece, but it is real hero-y. I don't know what else the word to use. Therefore, it is fully realized front and back. So you are holding an actual glaive, and it is fantastic. I don't know what else to say.
It further distracts you from how terrible the movie was.
Yes, it is.
When you're staring at it, yeah.
It's a wonderfully detailed, fully realized prop from a terrible movie.
That means a lot to a lot of people from
near and dear to my heart. Yes. If you had cable television in 1983, this was the only movie that you could watch on it. And if you're like me and your father didn't get cable television for you, the forbidden,
or any other stormtroopers.
Yes, exactly. This movie was like forbidden fruit. Like I cannot believe I'm not watching Krull right now. Like, oh my God, I'm so jealous that you are getting to watch Krull. My math grades are much better than yours, but your father got you cable. Fucking great. So yeah. So thank you, Krull. This thing is wonderful. You know, I was talking with another prop collector friend, which is how you put a price on these great props from terrible movies. Because we have seen other glaives get really healthy prices, and I believe this one will as well. I might even make the argument I like this one more. I'm gonna go that far. I like this one more even.
Yeah, pure hero.
And it's just, can you spend $50,000 on Krull? You know what I mean? It's like you're spending that money kind of going
that's
like,
our episode title.
I'm definitively, exactly. I'm definitively going to die with this piece, because once I buy it, there's, no one else is ever going to want it. And that's okay. And I'm all right making peace with, I'm the only one, and I have to be prepared to die with it. And that this is you have to be prepared to die with it piece, I think.
Yeah.
Because by the way, 2 years will go by, and anybody who likes Krull will be dead. And, and this, you'll be lucky if this thing sells. So this is the opposite of an investment piece, I will say. So yeah.
Yes. This is a divestment piece.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, you have to buy this, and then you have to go to your dad and say, you have to total up what it would have cost to buy cable back in
and then a little bit of interest.
And a little bit of interest, and be like, how do you like them apples? And just slam it down in his desk.
I was going for more of a Breakfast Club, like, what about you, Dad?
Yeah.
Anyway, so some version of that. Yeah. Where are you next? I'm 205. I'm going to jump to very quickly. Gimli Axe. This was just incredible to see. We've talked about pieces like this before. I'm rewatching those movies with my son right now, and so they're jumping out at me. I like Gimli. He gets a little goofy as the movies go along. They started to sort of indulge a little bit of the Gimli Legolas comedy that I maybe perhaps in a rewatching could have done without. But the design of this prop is just wetorific. I don't know what else to
Yeah.
call it. It is just gorgeous. The dwarven runes, whatever. I don't know. It's really incredible to see. It has a very healthy estimate, as it rightfully
Yeah.
should. But boy, oh boy, just incredible. So I don't know. I had to stop on it for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good one,
yeah.
for sure.
Where are you next?
And we can do this briefly. I just love this thing that exists:
Yep.
the Cherry Tree Lane mailbox from Mary
Yes.
Poppins,
Yeah.
and Bedknobs and Broomsticks, two films very
Yep.
near and dear to my childhood heart. This is the post office box that's on the backlot set for Cherry Tree Lane. It plays in both films. Again, it's crazy that this thing exists. It is in a prop catalog. A little trivia for you, actually, Dave, that I learned out here. That do you see the little cipher that's on the mailbox, sort of below that first it's below the slot. So there's the mail slot, and then there's that little box with the 17 Cherry Tree Lane in it, and then right
Yep.
below that you see what's embossed on there.
Is that an
And
ER2 or something, or what
no,
is
that's
that?
Queen.
Oh, it's a
That's Queen
Victoria.
Victoria's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
And
previous. Yep.
you can look at all the red letter mailboxes here in London and around England, and stamped on it is the cipher of the sovereign who is in power at the time when the box was made and instituted, and you can kind of tell how old they are. And I've actually, since that was pointed out
You
to me
started
by
to notice.
one of my writers, has started pointing out, and the one on our block is actually a King George one, which
wow.
it's just rare because of how briefly
Right.
he reigned. I mean, of course, a lot of them say Elizabeth too, because she
Right.
was in power for so long. But
Have
this is an old Victoria one, so that's very cool.
this is a British question, I guess, which is, have they changed like the yeoman warders? Have you been to the Tower of London? Do they now say like CR or whatever? Like, have they switched those to Charles?
All that stuff has been switched over. We have been to the Tower of London since Charles came to power, but I did not notice it.
I wonder. I'm just curious about that.
I mean,
yeah.
all that stuff has been
Everything
changed.
is switched over. I know there's money now. I know there's Charles
Yes.
money and whatnot. Very cool. Interesting. Sorry, these are not on my list per se, but it's been very interesting seeing sort of the redistribution of some of the various Matrix pieces that were in I guess there was the
Joel Silver
auction, but then there was also the Warshawski auction out of that Chicago auction house that specializes in magic. The name is escaping me.
The Wachowskis, but
say again.
I think it's the Wachowskis.
What did I say?
Warshawski.
Oh, okay, sorry, Wachowskis. But
just
I apologize to both of them. Anyway, I think a lot of these pieces sort of moved at very normal numbers. And again, is this speculation? Is this people?
Sure.
I'm buying this in an auction that people aren't paying attention to, maybe, and I'm going to hopefully, make some money. I like these when I saw them the first time, and I like them again this time. So I don't, again, just I did, again, part of that thing of what I noticed in this catalog ever slightly. I'm jumping to 250. Again, something we've talked about sort of ad nauseum. And by the way,
and is this a redo or is this a new one?
I don't know.
You didn't ask.
I don't know. I didn't
ask.
And I didn't think to ask. So I don't know if this is the UK auction at a lower price or whatever this is, but this thing weighs 1 million pounds.
Awesome.
This is just thick, every page with the hieroglyphics and whatnot. It is just fantastic. The lock works. You can turn it. The Book of the Living as opposed to the Book of the Dead. It is just incredible. I really want it. I really don't want to spend that money. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. And I'm going to extend this one step further because,
this is the Mummy lot 250,
yes,
the Mummy Book of the Living, in case we were just
and to connect it to sort of, because I feel like I've made these in my own mind sister movies in a weird way. 253 and 254, which is National Treasure Book of Secrets stuff, which have equally wonderful sort of different, but basically the various presidents' Book of Secrets and the John Wilkes Booth Diary, all of the various books and maps in that National Treasure movie, the first two National Treasure movies, and those mummy props Those are big, great, fun movies with really wonderful and really well made and rich, detailed props. And I love all of it. And I just never quite pulled the trigger. And I'm not sure I will this time either, but I love it. I love it. I love it. 261 is my next one, if I may.
Yep.
The Alfred Hitchcock Productions no parking sign. I don't know what to say. I just would like that hanging on my living room wall. It's that simple.
Very good.
Yeah,
it's framed already,
or maybe
like, so
or maybe in my garage. I don't know. Just like I just don't know what else to say. I just love it. I like the idea this was on the Universal lot, where his offices were for many years.
Yeah.
And I like to imagine, as I think I said, I saw this briefly in person. I feel like Hitchcock would have been a real stickler about people parking in his space. I think he would have not enjoyed that.
Would come up with horrible demises for those.
Just really, really fun. By the way, I listened to the first episode of the Peter Bogdanovich, now rest in peace, Handshakes podcast, or hand to hand. I don't even know what it's called. It was basically something he was working on before he passed away, and they've now finished it sort of after the fact. I listened to the first episode, and basically the first episode is him interviewing Guillermo del Toro. And then basically his guest chooses one of the older guys that Bogdanovich interviewed more at the beginning of his career, when he was a film critic and sort of film student. And so he has all of these interviews with Alfred Hitchcock from back in the day when he did this Hitchcock big sort of retrospective at the MoMA in New York City. Anyway, so they listen to the old Hitchcock tapes, and then they talk about Hitchcock, and Guillermo talks about Hitchcock as an influence on him. And it's really, really interesting. Like I said, I've only listened to the first episode, but I really did like it. But Bogdanovich tells a story in the podcast, and again, worth checking out. And I think perhaps Guillermo maybe helps finish it after Bogdanovich passed away, but I haven't gotten past the first episode. He tells this great story about how he'd get in an elevator with Hitchcock, and when someone else got into the elevator, Hitchcock would just start going, "So anyway, she's covered in blood," and she said, like, as if he's in the middle of a story. And then when their floor would ring, as he would get out, he'd go, "So, he'd get to like a key part of the story on purpose and be just like, and there was only one thing she could do," and they would get out of the elevator and the doors would close. And Bogdanovich the first time was like, what did they do? And he would just go, "No, that's my elevator story." Like, just so that basically people could say they were in an elevator with Hitchcock and heard some just crazy like piece of like gossip or something. Anyway, that alone is worth the price. Yeah. So
I'm downloading. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, check that out. I meant to actually text you about it, but now
another podcast that more people listen to than this one.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Exactly.
This episode is brought to you by Propstore.
Why choose Propstore? A number of reasons. Number one, content. Propstore's latest auction of almost 1,700 lots has something for everyone, with a wide array of content from the golden age of film to today. Propstore caters to all budgets, whether your collecting tastes are like me and Ryan's, or whether you're a new collector on a budget. This year's auction features a new Day 3 format with over 700 items listed with no reserve and just starting at $100 each. I don't think I realized that was their Day 3. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. So that's kind of cool.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah, that's neat.
Give them
we
props
should mention
to that. Yes.
In the
props
live episode.
Props. Yes, exactly.
Very cool. Yeah. Easy payment terms. Propstore makes it very easy to pay off your purchases over time. They offer interest-free payment plans for up to 3 months. On auction purchases, they also allow you to use credit cards up to $25,000, something that not all auction houses do allow. Or maybe you prefer to pay off your purchases by selling pieces from your own collection. If so, talk with Propstore about consigning high-quality pieces for a cash advance to help pay off your bill. And if anyone out there still has crypto, they'll accept that too.
So if I spend $5 million on the auction, I only have to give them $1 million and change, right? Like 1.25 million a month for the 3 months, and I can put 25,000 on my credit card. So that's perfect.
There you go. And then you can use crypto, which today is worth $50,000, and tomorrow is worth $2, and then it's worth $600,000, and
Yeah,
it just depends on the
you
day of
hit
the
the
week.
crypto on the right day, it pays for the whole
That's true.
auction.
That's true.
Yeah. Propstore COA. All COAs are not equal. Propstore's Certificate of Authenticity is the industry-leading COA, and it really means something. The only one in the industry with a money-back guarantee attached to it. It means you can be confident that Propstore has done their research and they're willing to stand behind it when you buy in a Propstore auction. And when you look to resell your piece down the line, there's no better COA to protect your investment. They do a lot of research. God bless them.
Yes.
I do love that fact about them. So go to Propstore's social channels to view educational videos about different auction items. You can see also my videos about that I made on my visit to Propstore. And the great Adam Savage, friend of the show, made a bunch from Tested. And so check those out as well. Those are very fun.
And finally, don't forget the promotions we announced earlier in the season. Enter by the end of the day on March 7th for your chance to win a copy of the Propstore printed catalog, as well as 2 tickets to the March 11th VIP preview event at the Peterson Automotive Museum with Sir Anthony Daniels. To enter, email us
and
at
I think
dreamsaremade.
I think I'm going to go. I think.
Oh, that's good.
So
That's
I'll
an
be
even
there. Say
better
hi to
draw
me.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah, say hi to me. You don't need a ticket to say hi to
Who
me.
has more Star Wars props, Anthony Daniels or Dave Mendel?
He was winning. I think I'm ahead now that he's sold off. So I think I'm winning now. Yeah.
There you go. Email us at dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com and tell us your favorite item in the latest Propstore catalog. No purchase necessary to enter. And in the coming weeks, use your Dave10 or Dave10 codes to get 10% off a buy now purchase and add some additional items to your auction order. There's no better way to cap off your auction wins.
I was just going to say, please email us at dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com to enter this contest, because I think it'll look good for us to show Propstore that a lot of people entered the contest to win. So enter, even if you live in like China and can't come, just enter, just send it, just enter. And that way, I don't know, it'll look good.
It's a metric for us that helps us out.
Yeah. It'll look good. So do that for us. Really, this is an ad for us, or at least an ad for us to help us keep them paying for ads
for them.
Yes. My next one is 312.
Okay.
So I've got a while. I don't know where you.
293. I just wanted to briefly call out. It's just great. It's Sabrina Fairchild's Audrey Hepburn's screen match gown from Sabrina. Probably other than Roman Holiday, this is my favorite Audrey film. I like this one more because it's a little darker and more dramatic, and I love that it's Bogey in it.
Such an iconic outfit.
And William Holden, and Holden is from that era is actually probably my favorite male actor from that particular time. I mean, Wild Bunch, Sunset Boulevard. Stalag 17, just crazy. And I love that this exists. It's gorgeous, and this should be
this
in
Academy Museum
Academy.
Or I'm going one step further. To me, if the Met in New York, the Costume Institute, doesn't grab this, I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand what these museums are for if you don't have,
if you're not going for
if you're not going after Audrey Hepburn's dress. I mean, good on you if you buy something from Shawshank Redemption and you're that museum or one of, you know what I mean, like the Academy Museum. But how do you not have Audrey Hepburn's dress? This opportunity to grab it. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Great. And if I thought I could do any justice to it by showing it to the public or anything, I would get involved, but it's just it's too much.
I think it would look incredible in my closet. I think it would really look great mushed into my closet,
next to your pumpkin jacket.
Yeah, exactly. Really just jammed in there. So where to next?
Well, I have another one then before I'm going back to back. So 301. And I've thought about that. I've gone back and forth on this very much. It's the puffy shirt from Seinfeld, and I love the episode. I think this is the most iconic Seinfeld thing because I think it's just the thing that you so associate. Like it's the one thing that just you look at it, you know exactly what it is, you know what it's from, you can remember the joke. Now that I heard,
I don't want to be a pirate. Yeah.
Were you on the show?
Before
this
me.
is pre you. Okay. Yeah. And maybe that's why it never sort of, you didn't gravitate toward the way I do, but I don't know. And as you know, my favorite television comedy.
No, I know that. I just didn't think of you as even. I don't know. It was not on my mind that you would. But I get it. I totally get it. So
I freaking love it, and it makes it just. I laugh when I just like flipping to it and seeing it makes me laugh.
Nope.
And I showed my wife, who's also a massive Seinfeld fan, and she knew. I just showed her the picture
No,
in the catalog, knew exactly
it
what
is
it was, and
certainly
started laughing.
absolutely
Yeah.
iconic, and again, a show where lots of found objects. That is a constructed piece for it, that pirate shirt.
Which I also love about, which is a great point. Yeah.
I've got one more from my costume closet, and again, am I going to bid on it? Probably not, but I'm just calling it out anyway because it just hit me, which is Lot 312. It's Sweet Sue and her Society Syncopators. It's her outfit from Some Like It Hot, one of my all-time favorite movies. What are you going to get from this movie? I don't know, but this is a gorgeous beaded dress that there's no point in me actually owning, and yet there you go. So I'm not buying it, but I just I don't know what else to say. It's just kind of wonderful. I you know what I mean? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I am not the right guy for it. But it is truly wonderful. I don't know. Yeah.
It's great. It is great.
I'm
348 is my next.
348, is that a Picard thing or something? Where
yes.
That's not for a guess. Yeah. Not the chair though. Not the chair.
The chair.
The chair's, oh, it is the chair.
Oh, sorry. 346.
346. Oh, okay.
Wrong. Yeah. What is 348? It's the
I was about to say
bridge L-Cars red alert.
Oh, that L-Cars that's a great piece, Ryan. You really need to get that. Yeah, you should sell everything to get that one.
Sorry, 346. So it's Captain Picard's screen matched light up command chair. This is just incredible.
It is wonderful.
Throw this chair right out of my office. That should be my new sitting chair in here. And let's do it.
Would you sit on it? Let me start with that. Would you let people in your office and sit on it?
Not other people.
Okay.
Me.
You would sit on it. Okay.
Yes.
I know you've always wanted a Picard. We've talked about that a whole bunch as well.
Yes.
Costume.
Yes.
If you got the costume, would you ever do a sitting pose costume and do it together? Or would you want him standing behind it? Or where does that fit in? Or it doesn't really fit in anywhere?
I think that would be very interesting to debate. Maybe we should win this and then eventually win. I mean, that's the thing. I'll buy this and then a costume will never come up ever again. I'll have the one chair, but
you'll buy this and then a costume will show up, but it'll be like 8 times the chair. Like it'll just, the chair causes costume prices to go crazy.
Yeah. No,
it is truly wonderful, and yet it is awful looking. I saw it just, and it just like, I don't know, it just looks like it's like a weird Barker lounger, but I get it. I understand it. I do understand it. Are you serious? Let me ask you that. Are you thinking about it for real or more just like,
I don't think I love it, but if my like permanent collection home was settled and I knew that I had the room, absolutely, sure. But I just don't know where we're going from here. It's not going to fit.
No, I do understand it. Yeah. What I love about it, I will say, and you can see it in the pictures, and I got to see it in person. I don't think I shot with it because it's actually sitting right when you first walk into Propstore, and we were kind of shooting inside. But I love sort of the mini, we were joking about L-Cars, but I love the mini L-Cars built into the armrests. I love that you get to see the light up, but also like the mini Enterprise schematics on the left one. I just thought it's a really nice detail.
I think one of those buttons on there should just say Tea Earl Grey hot. Like you can just do it.
One of those says, "Bring me my flute."
Yeah.
Where's my flute button? Pretty great. No interest, but pretty great. Let's see, where are we going? I think we got to stop with friend of the show, in quotes, friend and also show, Anthony Daniels, his collection. Let's start with the helmet, because I think maybe, is that on your list as well? Is that,
sure. It's on
I just wrote down C-3PO pieces. I didn't specifically get into anything. So let's start with lot 362. And I'm going to declare this because I have no horse in this race. I like this helmet 10 times more than the hero helmet with the dent that sold in the previous auction. And the main reason, and I said this previously, is I did not love that the other helmet was replated. I understood it. I understood perhaps why it was done. And I hope the person who has it is very, very happy. But this, to me, is what I want my C-3PO to look like. I don't know how else to express that. I love I love the fact that it looks like garbage. I mean, I don't mean garbage, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the wear, the tear, and the age.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
looks like
Does not look like a
the used
replica. Yeah.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's screen matched, and
The
the match
screen
is very
match, the light
clear.
up eyes, the electronics in it. It's got
Yeah,
the
it's
neck piece,
glorious.
the neck bolts, the top piece. It is an all in one, just fabulous. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's right there looking at you, and it's he's an iconic character from, I mean, one of the most recognizable
Yeah.
robots in movie history, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic, and it's definitely on the list. It's just that this is such a big Rubicon for me, just in terms of even the one bid price is such a big crossing, and it's like, am I ready to go there? And am I ready
Sure.
to go there with this piece? I
Is
think
this the
that's the
one?
bigger
Yes. Is
question.
this
Is
the
this the
one? Yeah.
piece where you go there? And I will tell you, if that Indiana Jones jacket said Harrison Ford in it, like that's the one I would be
That would
going
have gotten
for.
you across the number. I
For
get that.
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, and justifiably. I just don't know. I just don't, and that's the thing. I will go back and forth until the day of, and I don't know. That's the thing I struggle with.
Yeah, I can't answer that one. I think it is fantastic. I was asked by one of the Propstore guys, actually Chuck was sort of wondering if I was interested in it. He thought, and we got into sort of a discussion. For those of you that may remember, don't remember, but anyway, I have a front half. So I have half
Yes,
an Anthony Daniels C3PO from the original Star Wars, from Star Wars
the
itself,
half
A
you'd
New
want to
Hope.
have. Yes.
Yes, the front half, certainly the better of the two halves, but it is only a half. And I have finally got eyes for it, but it is not the original eyes, et cetera, et cetera. I think I have neck bolts. I was actually, one of the things I was sort of curious about, I was looking at in this lot, in this auction in general, was I got to double check. I think I have neck bolts, but I was sort of thinking about maybe grabbing, even though it's an Empire, the little antenna piece at the top, just to,
Right.
I don't know, just to have. I guess that was, I marked all these down. I'll talk about that in a minute or two. But this, I mean, I don't know how to say this. The Jedi versus Star Wars doesn't bother me in the least,
No.
in the sense of like, oh, yours is from Jedi, mine's from Star Wars. I don't think it's anything.
The character is the
Yeah.
character, and the character does not
Right.
really change.
I
Yeah.
have to admit, I'm just not sure I want to make this upgrade for the price it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's, I guess, where my head went with it a little bit is, oh, then I got to sell my front and all of this stuff.
I mean, again, this
yes.
is another one of those pieces I would make the case with your Star Wars collection. I would rather see you buy this and sell 4 other things and just have like Chewbacca and 3PO and like the hero stormtrooper
and
the
that,
X-wing.
by the way, was Chuck's argument as well. And what I would make this argument, which is maybe this is what's the word? A bit of a prodding for me. I believe if I do the work with my C3PO, which is to say, get it so it stands up, put the eyes in, wire up the electronics, put the net, that like when you are staring at my C3PO from the front, from like the front of it, there is no sense that the back is missing, I guess is what I'm saying. And if mine were properly displayed next to the Chewbacca and whatnot, I think it would look almost as good as, I think it would look equally really good. And maybe that is as I said to Chuck, it's almost sort of like I forget about my C3PO from time to time as well, because it's sort of laying and not really.
And it's not really,
yes,
and it's
exactly.
not in your main room. And
yes, exactly. And so I think perhaps the larger answer here for me is just to get off my ass with my piece display wise.
That will be cheaper.
It will certainly be cheaper. I mean, again, I do love this, so I don't have an answer. I will tell you the following. If I did not have the piece I have, even at whatever these numbers are, I'd be all over this. And if and honestly, if someone writes to me and says, "Oh, I'll buy your Star Wars one," I might consider it. Although I'm not, what's the word? I'm not going to buy this and then sell mine. But if someone wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to chat about it. I did really like it. I did then make a note to myself, and the hands are great and whatever. And again, he's got all this wonderful other, scripts, and again, the same ephemera. I made note of just like some of the pieces, 370, which is the the head antenna,
Yeah.
371, the neck bolts, which I think I have. I don't think I have a head antenna. I got to look into that. 374, which is the undersuit, which is something I stayed away from in the previous auction, but I was interested in. And
I
again,
love 377 and 378. His Star Wars
the
story to the
Ewokese,
Ewoks,
yes,
but like
exactly.
handwritten out in both Ewokese and then in English.
I agree. Just wonderful.
Delightful, yeah.
A bunch of the call sheets and whatnot was really great. He had in his collection, which I got to see, was a keychain, which was like a little crew gift that I'd never seen before. A Return of the Jedi like keychain crew gift from, I think, Howard Kazanjian. We weren't quite sure, but I was pretty sure it was Kazanjian. And I thought that was really neat. The other piece that is in the the Daniels collection is he has one of the Disneyland or Disney World. I don't. It's got some age to it, but it is the torso. It's C-3PO's torso. Nothing that he ever wore. It was used, at the park, for appearances. And I know this sounds just fucking crazy to say out loud, but because it is sort of a what's the word I'm looking for? It is an actual prop of Disneyland. You know what I mean? I know this sounds silly and perhaps not the worst number in the world. I did wonder what it would be like to grab that torso and then put my head on that torso just from a display point of view. Anyway, just now.
I mean, I'd rather see you just buy this head, frankly.
I'd rather see you buy mine from me. So there you go. To be discussed. I did enjoy a couple of these other Star Wars lots. I really liked, sorry, that's Hooper barking in the background. The Macquarie Alderaan matte painting.
Yes, that's very
383.
Cool.
That is a just perfect little Macquarie piece. I like seeing
15 by 20. I mean, that's
it's solidly, it's not, sometimes he works small, but that's a good one.
And a good price for Macquarie.
Yes,
I mean,
certainly a very good, sort of very fair starting price. I like the R2 plans. I guess we're deviating here for a second, but we're almost done. The Harry Lang 386, the cockpit designs kind of came back again at a more reasonable price. I thought that was interesting. The Rebel Trooper 388. And then I just wanted to there it is, by the way. Sorry, there's the crazy 3PO body. It's 395, the walk around suit. So that was whatever. I wanted to just call out for old time's sake, 391, which is my original. This was in my collection for many, many years. The person I sold it to is now selling it. But that was my first Stormtrooper helmet with your
first movie prop, right?
Yes. It was my first screen use.
This is
prop.
a big one. Yeah, I didn't call this out
Blue
because
Harvest.
I
exactly. I don't think either of us are bidding on it, but I just Old Home Week. It's a little yellowed, but in really, really nice condition beyond the yellowing.
Complete.
Yeah, totally. All the inside, all the helmet stuff, the chin strap, all of that. It's missing one of the piece of grating on the mic tip, but otherwise, really, really nice and just. I don't know. I love seeing it. It's very cool. I don't regret it, but I miss it.
I remember this from the early days of me knowing you. It was in that like lower cabinet, sort of like between the chairs, and I always remember it's like, oh, there's Dave's third Stormtrooper helmet.
No, just kind of wonderful.
What do you think about the price? What do you think? Do you think this makes it? They have been soft recently.
It's been a while since one has shown up.
I mean,
I think
soft,
this is
six figures
this is a good one.
As 6 figures is. Yeah.
I laughed at the range because it's a big range on this one. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, to me, it should be. I don't know what else to say, but I guess we don't know. I mean, going back to the Greg Jean auction, I mean, even the full Stormtrooper suit that I got was, I don't know, like I think we all thought that was going higher. So I don't know what that means. This, I think we've said this before, this falls into this strange category where every Star Wars guy I know has a Stormtrooper helmet, be it Jedi or from the movie
Star
itself.
Wars guys.
So you need new guys that don't have one. And right now, a lot of those guys, especially when some of the big money guys, seem to be going Star Wars or nothing, meaning they don't want a Jedi. They're holding out. And I think that is part of what has, I don't know, I don't want to say driven the prices down, but I'm curious to see. It has been a while, and I do think this one is gorgeous. So I don't know where that fits in, but yeah, I'm curious, for lack of any other word. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else for you? I have to say that
I
was
have
it for
one
me.
more.
Oh, please.
It's all the way at the end.
Yep.
It's under X.
Under X.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? The Wolverine jacket?
No.
What?
So my I believe
What's the
I'm
number?
almost
Sorry.
positive 462.
462.
I believe these are my badges that I moved these on a couple years ago. It was one of those years where I had spent a lot, and at the end of the year, I was feeling very guilty about how much I had spent, and I just sort of looked around and I was like, "What can go?" And I put these in at a good reserve, and I made a bunch of money on
Right.
them,
And off they went. Yeah.
and off they went, and now they've come back around, and now I'm sitting here wondering, should I be getting them back?
The answer is
I
yes. I think it's wonderful. I
I
just
love
love the
them.
X-Files.
Yeah,
So I think the answer is yes, but I don't have a good answer.
yeah, yeah.
Again, this is one of these
So it's
things.
Mulder and Scully's
Yeah.
FBI badges. So it's the actual badge in the wallet, which is different than the little hang tags, which there are too many of, and they're problematic. But these there are not a lot of, and this is a good one, and it has the same. The reason I think they're the same as the ones I
you
had
had,
was
yep.
because they had the provenance from the Fox television charity auction, and I
Gotcha.
believe I was asked about these when they came back in, and I sent photos over. So that I'm almost positive these are formerly mine, and now they're back. So thinking about it.
It's like, I don't know, maybe at some point we have to just bar ourselves, or I have to bar myself, because it's just like the list of, I stare at it all the time. Again, it's like Mummy, National Treasure, X-Files. There's probably 5 or 6 other things. I never pull the trigger, but I think about them every time. It's just,
But this was my favorite television show.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. I think I told you.
And this is what this had a bigger hand than most things in making me want to be a writer.
I get that. I get that too. I fully understand it. I love that show. I think I told you Duchovny hosted SNL. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved it. I am there. Anything at all hit you in day 2 or 3? I was light on day 2 and 3. I don't really have anything else.
I honestly have not even gone through yet. I owe that pass. I was going to do it a little closer to the auction.
Well, maybe perhaps we'll save that for some of our highlights.
Yeah, I think
we're going to follow this
our
up.
live our live deal.
We'll be back next week to talk about the Heritage auction, but again, we are going to follow this up with a second show, and it will be on March 10th. Again, live show Sunday, March 10th, where we'll be talking all things Propstore, and you will be able to watch live on YouTube and ask questions about pieces. And Ryan and I are going to give out sort of I don't know. I think kind of almost like our own little catalog awards for some various favorite things we think the other guy should buy, things we would never buy, things we would like to be gifted, things I never want to see again, things that slightly, I don't know, all sorts of categories and whatnot. We'll be talking, and we're definitely digging more into days 2 and 3 and some of the oddities that are there. And so that's coming up. Is there a game? Do we even play the game anymore? I've lost all track. Do we have a game? What do you really want from the Mummy?
From Hellraiser.
Yeah, exactly. Something with a womb is what I want from Hellraiser. I need more wombs in my. Is that doable? Something with a womb. Yeah. Is there a game? Do you want to play a game?
Which captain's chair would you have?
Oh, I would want original series. But I'm getting
original series, not Khan.
I love Khan, but I would go original series if I'm picking a
fair.
captain's chair. Yes,
that's
exactly.
fair. Yeah. I would take this one. I mean, honestly, just because it's the one. It was mine.
Yep.
And I love the movies and all that, but this was mine. Yeah. So
and I love Khan too, but I love that. I think isn't it like that? The bridge is everybody's bridge, so it's like it's Reliance Bridge. They just kept reconfiguring, so it's probably your chair was not only sat on the Khan chair was probably sat in by Kirk and Ricardo Montalban, so there's something to be said for that. Yeah, no, I'm saying that, but I think at the end of the day, I'd still have to go original series. I just because, but yeah.
Gun to your head, gun to my head. Should I be buying the Indy jacket?
Just passed out. It's hard. this is a good thing to end on. I genuinely believe I'm of a mind that the one you want will show itself. I can't answer if that will be next auction or
yes,
3
and
years.
I have, and
And
I know that I've been told that I'm crazy,
right.
but I happen to think so too, and I
I do.
just
I
think
do.
that
I am
if it
at this point.
doesn't,
I
I'm
am of a
okay with this.
I am of a mind that everything shows up eventually. Now, you may hate the price. You may cross a room.
But not to be
right.
not to be an asshole.
Yeah.
But now that I am where I am, like I would be much happier writing a check for 2x for a
Right.
Harrison jacket
No, and
than I
that's where
would be
that's where I
living in
was
this no
going with
man's
it. Yes,
land.
that's where I was going with it. And I guess what I will say is, based on how you feel, I think even if it took 7 years for that Harrison jacket to show up, which is a really good amount of time. I'm not talking about you buy this and 3 weeks later there's a Harrison jacket.
Well, which would be a nightmare.
Which would be a nightmare. I think
Yeah.
even 7 years later you would not be happy. Because you would just be like, oh, no, great, now I got to get rid of this. I just think it's what you want. You have to stick with what you want. And that's the larger answer.
Yeah, and I have the character. And even you, who
Do
kind
I
of poo-pooed my shirt by when I was making it,
No,
have been turned around by...
I poo-pooed and turned it... Yeah, it did it for me and has me considering the shirt now, which is fucking nuts in its own way. So
But you should... I mean, you need to get that shirt.
No,
and look, at a reasonable price.
No one looks at my display and goes, no, there's no shirt. Yeah.
But it makes it so wonderfully complete.
Yes, it's ridiculously complete. It is ridiculously complete. And certainly, I guess if it's shirt versus Book of the Living, it'll be shirt. But anyway, it should be Book of the Living from the Mummy.
Absolutely.
All right, on that fine note of just disgust and anger at ourselves as we sit here in a puddle of our own prop urine.
Yes. Write to us and let us know what you think of the new format. We like it. I think it's gone well. It kept it more lively, I think, the discussion, and we did get through a lot of
long,
stuff.
dare I say.
Yes.
Not quite as long, dare I say. And by the way, live show March 10th. Please find us on our YouTube channel. It'll be all over our social.
And we'll link it on
say
social.
Everything. Going to link everywhere. But really, come. Bring your questions. We'll talk about any prop you want in the catalog. We want to hear about your favorites, what you're going after. Are you bidding against us? That's what we really want to know. But it's going to be great.
Come at us and tell us what we should be bidding on.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you soon.